Welcome, welcome, welcome. So today is day 9. It's day 9. This is really exciting. Congratulations for continuing to be visible, even when you feel like it's not perfect, right? So I love seeing the progress that you guys are making, the things that you are starting to notice, the wins that you're beginning to have, right? The kind of light bulbs that are going off. And it's really, really beautiful. It's also interesting to kind of note how much forgiveness is happening and how much grace is happening and how much you're acknowledging that it's okay to not be perfect. And some of you are actually having a hard time with that, where you feel like, oh, I fell off, or I cheated, or life happened, or I got off track, right? And there's a little bit of that beating yourself up happening. So today, actually, this is, by the way, totally normal, right? Everybody has both sides. But today, I wanted to take the opportunity to talk about the idea of having grace with ourselves and how important it is for us to give ourselves grace when we are on a journey like this, and really a journey of any kind where we are working to shift, change, grow, right? How important it is to continue to have grace with ourselves, because we hold ourselves to such high standards, much higher than anybody else holds us to. And we also hold ourselves to higher standards than we hold other people, right? We know kind of cognitively, intuitively that we're not perfect, but we still expect ourselves to be perfect. It doesn't really make sense, right? So what is grace? Really what grace is it's the ability to forgive yourself for past mistakes and keep moving forward, right? Isn't that beautiful? It's a really beautiful thing to give ourselves. It's a beautiful thing to give other people too, but to forgive yourself for past mistakes and keep moving forward, right? The keep moving forward part is a really integral part of what grace is, right? It's not just forgiveness. It's the letting go of that so that you can keep taking those steps forward, right? It really is the thing, kind of this lack of grace is really what derails our progress and holds us back. When things don't go the way we think they should, when we mess up or we don't get it right, right? The gremlins then show up. They tell us, see, I told you so. I was right. This is too much. It's not going to work. You shouldn't have done that, right? And we give up. But grace, right? Giving yourself grace instead allows you to keep taking steps forward, right? Maybe the step was too big and it needs to be broken down into smaller steps. Maybe the step wasn't quite right for you and it needs to be revamped, right? There's all those options. Maybe it was the right step and it just was hard to do and you just need to give it another shot. Right? There's all different options when we have those moments of getting derailed. But it doesn't mean that that step needs to be given up on. Right? In fact, it's the opposite. It means that we just need to kind of sit with it a little bit, finagle it a little bit, see where the best fit is, so we can keep taking those steps forward. And when we give ourselves grace instead of beating ourselves up about it, then it's so much easier. In fact, one of the things that I really like to kind of suggest and kind of put out there is to watch the language that you use with yourself. A lot of people use the word, I cheated, right? That's not a nice word. You didn't. Either you decided to have an indulgence or you made the choice to do something differently, right? Give yourself that empowered, like the empowered words of, it's okay. I made this choice. This was me doing it. Not my gremlins, not someone else, not the situation, but I made the choice, right? And when we step into that power, it makes it a lot easier to give ourselves grace in that situation, even if maybe after the fact you wish you had made a different choice. And it makes it a lot easier to keep taking steps forward and then be more empowered in our choices next time. So over the last week and a half, we've talked a lot about different tips, right? Different steps, different things that you can do to help boost these positive effects of the body reset program. From the morning routine to the bedtime to routine, grounding practices, body movement, all sorts of things. And of course, all the pieces of the body reset as well. So there's been a lot of information coming at you over the last 9 days now. So it's important, we've talked about, right, making sure we're taking baby steps. It's important to not take on too much too fast, because then when you get to the end of something like this, it's really easy to let it all go. However, where do we start, right? The best order of operations can be really different for different people. So I want to throw out kind of an easy way or a simple way that you can start to feel into what is the best place for you to really sink into first, right? To really get into the details of first. You can try a lot of different things. I'm not saying don't try a lot of different things. You can definitely try a lot of different things, but if you have a focal point, how do you know where your focal point should be? So there's a couple ways. For all of us, there's often one thing that when we get into routine with that thing, it really helps all the other routines fall into place. Right? So for me, for example, mine is exercise. If I'm getting regular daily exercise, it's a lot easier for me to continue to eat really well, to get good sleep because I've exercised, right? My stress level's lower. So it helps me balance everything else. So this is what I call the catalyst for your health, right? Now, everything is related to everything else, right? So nutrition is related to our exercise, which is related to our stress, which is related to our sleep, which is related to back to our nutrition, right? It's all related. So anywhere that you are doing kind of work and taking steps is going to then default and help all the other areas as well. However, there's often one that will help you more, right? And so that can be a really nice place to kind of focus. So when I'm doing the body reset, one of the things that I'll make sure I'm doing is also paying attention to my body movement, because that helps me maintain in all the other parts of my life, right? So that's a really big catalyst for me and something that's really, really important for me to continue. Now, we also have an area of our health that's a bit like an Achilles heel. It's usually the first thing to go when life gets busy or life gets stressful, right? Maybe you start eating sugar again, and that's the first thing to go. Maybe it's staying up way too late, binge watching Netflix, right? Maybe we become sedentary and we don't carve out the time to move our bodies anymore because we're busy with everything else. Maybe we forego the self-care, right? So there's a lot of different areas that you can let go of, right? And again, just like we usually have an area of our health where if we get into a good routine there, it helps all the rest. There's also the area where when life gets really busy and chaotic, it's the first thing to go, right? Now, here's the kicker. It's not always true, but often your catalyst is the same as your Achilles heel. So again, for me, when life gets busy and I have a lot of other stuff to do, guess what's the first thing I let go of? My exercise. I don't let go of my self-care. I don't let go of my eating habits, right? I don't let go of my morning and evening routines and things like that. I let go of my exercise. And if I don't pick it back up again, then the other areas will start to suffer. But that's usually the first one for me to go. So here's a little secret. If you don't yet know, you can't identify what's my catalyst, what's my Achilles heel. Here's a little secret. It's often the thing that you have the most resistance to and will make the most excuses about when you're trying to shift it or modify it in your life. Isn't that interesting? I love humans. We're such fascinating creatures, right? So my invitation to you is two parts, right? This, by the way, kind of this idea that our Achilles heel is often what we're most resistant to. We make up the most excuses, right? Also happens to be the catalyst. This is, again, why it's really important for us when we're on a journey like this to make sure we are fully giving ourselves grace as we move through all the steps and we continue to kind of show up and do things, to just really have grace with ourselves as we are moving into our new being, right? So my invitation is in two parts today. One is I want you to think of something during this program that you did that you are not 100% satisfied with, or maybe you wish you had made a different choice, right? And I just want you to think about that. Identify what is that? What would that moment have been? What would that choice have been that you wish, I wish, looking back, I wish I had made a different choice, right? Give yourself forgiveness for it, right? Practice the art of having grace with yourself. Forgive yourself for that. Don't make excuses around it, right? Stand in the power that it was your choice in that moment. Don't make excuses about it. Well, I did it because I was really busy that day, or I did it because these people were visiting, or I did it because I was out and about, or I did it because I didn't have time, right? Put the excuses aside. That is the opposite of having grace with yourself. Having grace, you first have to stand in the full power that it was your choice and that it was okay to make that choice in that moment, and that it's okay to move forward in a new direction now, right? That is where the power of grace comes from. When we put aside those excuses, we don't let them, that's the gremlins coming, trying to kind of appease you, because then it's easier to pull you back into your comfort zone. So don't allow them to do that. Don't use the excuses. Stay in your power. Stay empowered in your choices, in your decisions. Okay, so that's your first invitation. What is something during this program that maybe if you were to do it again, you would make a different choice, or you weren't completely satisfied with that choice? Maybe you know more now, right? Allow yourself to really own the decision you made in that moment. Forgive yourself if forgiveness is needed, right? Acknowledge that there was nothing wrong with you making that choice in that moment. And then how can you move forward with a choice that feels better next time, right? So that's the first piece. The second piece is to try to identify what is the catalyst for you. What is your health catalyst? And if you don't know, okay, then ask yourself, what is the area of your health that you are most resistant to making changes in? And what is one small action that you can take? Maybe something that we've talked about, but what's one small action you can take in a positive direction in that particular area of your health to help get all the other things to stick, right? That's why we want to pay attention to our catalyst, because that will help everything else that you're doing stick a little bit better, right? So that is it for today. Those are your two invitations, right? What has happened during this program that you could give yourself some grace for, right? So you can keep taking amazing steps forward, right? And it doesn't stall you out. And what is the catalyst for your health? A lot of times that's the area we also need to give ourselves grace for, right? Because it's the hardest one for us to take those steps and move forward. So what is that one small action? One small action that you can take in a positive direction in that area of your health. So have a beautiful rest of your day. Tomorrow we're into double digits. So we'll be back tomorrow with another video. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Sending you all so much love. Keep doing an amazing job. Keep taking those steps. Keep having your intentions right in front of you, because it makes it so much easier to maintain that focus throughout a program like this. All right. Mwah. Talk to you soon.